and this is Life with Lo, where I document my life and take you guys along for the ride. So today is going to be a bit of a story time. I just want to put it out there before I start. This video may be a trigger for women who have recently experienced loss or are still healing from their previous losses. This is solely intended to let people know that you are not alone in this battle, that it's a journey that nobody can prepare you for. But if you could just know from hearing my story, then that's what I'm here for, and I just wanted to share my experience. I want to talk about how I've experienced 2 second trimester losses, and they were concurrent in 2018 and 2019. As a result of those losses, how I also found out that I have an incompetent cervix. So I found out that I was pregnant in February of 2018. So the whole trip I was perfectly fine. We got on the plane to return home, and instantly I just felt queasy and sick, and I thought that I was gonna vomit. So I asked the flight attendant for a brown paper bag. I did not throw up, but I noticed that smells were bothering me and a lot of different things. So we got home and went to the nearest Walgreens and got a few tests, and sure enough, I was pregnant. Through about April, I was very sick. I was struggling with hyperemesis, and I had lost about 30 pounds. I could not eat. I couldn't keep any water down. Nothing seemed to help. I was on all kinds of anti-nausea medication, and I had to be hospitalized several times. At that point, I hadn't eaten for about 6 weeks, and my providers at the time, they tried to insert the feeding tube. It would not stick. They just ended up leaving it as it was and said that I would get better by the start of my second trimester. Fast forward to about 15 or 16 weeks, my husband and I do a 3D ultrasound at a place here in our city, and we were able to find out the gender of our baby. It was very obvious that it was a little boy, and we were very excited. Maybe about 19 weeks, I got a little bit better. I was able to eat finally, and even though it was soft foods, I just didn't have any more issues. I had entered that second trimester, of course, and was just kind of overcoming that hurdle. At 19 weeks, that put me at about Mother's Day. I decided to announce to my family, also, of course, the dreaded Facebook social media announcement. I was excited. It was my first Mother's Day. I felt really good because I was better in my pregnancy, and about a week later, on a Sunday, I wasn't feeling very well. My stomach was kind of crampy. Mind you, I had never been pregnant, and I didn't know what labor felt like. It was a little bit uncomfortable. It felt like period cramps. I thought maybe I had overdid it cleaning or cooking and wanted to just lie down, and so I did that. And then about an hour or so later, I got up and I kind of just fell to the floor as I was getting out of bed. My husband came to check on me and see about me, and instantly I just felt like I needed to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, but before I could sit down on the toilet, my water broke. At this point, I'm 20 weeks and I'm very nervous. I know that your water breaking means that a baby is near. So we went to the hospital, and about 2 hours after being examined and observed, they essentially told me that I was miscarrying and that I needed to deliver the baby. I'm sorry. So, about 3 hours later, I was lying in bed. They had given me some medication to kind of help with the pain that I was in, because again, at that point I was in active labor. I was about 3 centimeters dilated, or 3.5 centimeters dilated when I arrived at the hospital. So it had progressed very quickly, and the pain was kind of subsiding, the medicine was working, and I felt like I had to go to the bathroom. So I got up to go to the bathroom with help from the nurse, and she told me she'd be right outside the door. And as I was using the bathroom, I realized that I wasn't just using the bathroom, because there was something, I felt something strange, and I looked down and I had delivered my son and I didn't know. And then a whole team of providers rushed in, and they determined that he was too small and that he was not developed enough to try to resuscitate. So they called a code, cut his cord, got me back into bed, and there was a separate team that was working with him to like clean him up and things like that, because they told me that essentially there was nothing that they could do. So at that point, I was just overwhelmed with emotion. I did not expect for it to happen that way, or for it to happen so quickly. And I took it pretty hard, and I did have support. I had lots of support from my family, from the providers. My mom was there with me, my husband was there with me, and we got to spend time with my son. I was able to get his baptism certificate from the hospital chaplain, and then we named him, and we were able to kind of get time until I was ready. So I named him Elijah, and his dad wanted an epic name for him, so his middle name was Maximus. And I decided that he was wanted, he was loved, and that he deserved his name. So we named him, and then they gave us all of his paperwork. They took his footprints and his little handprints, and I was able to get assistance with making arrangements, and we decided to, instead of having a service, to have him cremated. And so my mom kind of helped deal with all of that, and I was released from the hospital, I think about 2 to 3 days later. I do just want to give a disclaimer that that birth was really traumatic for me. And although I am healed from it, I've gone to therapy and gotten all kinds of help and have lots and lots of support, that was still my son, and I didn't get to experience him. So I'm sorry that I'm kind of like teary, and I'm trying really hard not to cry, but it just makes me emotional sometimes, because like any mom, I wonder what he would have been like and what he would have looked like, and I just didn't get that chance. So it's a sore spot for me, and I want you all to know that it's okay to have sad moments about your losses, but that doesn't define who you are or who you will be as a mom, because you have those moments about those precious babies, because they were loved and they did exist. So that was the end of that pregnancy. And I tried everything under the sun to just not think about it. Now that I look back on it, I really do feel Like, I experienced a little bit of postpartum. I was kind of in the house a lot, and that really didn't make it any better when my husband left to work or the kids left to go to school. And then I had the recovery period and all of these things that I was experiencing without baby. So I decided I was going to get up and I was going to get out of the house, work out, go to therapy, try to get myself back into a rhythm. And at that point, I think I turned vegan for a little while just to detox my body and just to be in a better space health-wise. And apparently that like kick-started and boosted my fertility, because lo and behold, 3, almost 4 months later, I was pregnant.